What's up, guys? Rafiel coming at you with an awesome live stream. Today, it is another one of my favorite characters' birthdays. As you can see here, it is Ranko Kanzaki. So today is Ranko Kanzaki's birthday. So I figured we would be doing a live stream for her today. I was going to go through my White Shorts SP collection, but I figured, let's try live streaming a deck profile, just in case we want to try it in the future. We also have some new Magic cards to go through and a random package of Yu-Gi-Oh cards I bought a while back to show you guys as well. So obviously, guys, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more awesome videos. So also, if you guys haven't already checked out my newest review, which is on the Kurumi Tokusaki 1/7 Catgirl figure, it is up now. I definitely recommend you guys go check it out. I also do have a legendary Aliens review up as well. So first off, guys, let's take a look at the Magic cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, then we'll get into the deck profile. So for starters, guys, we have a Chroma Angel of Fury. So really cool cards. So these cards are all for my Kalia deck, so she can't be countered. She's got Flying Trample, Protection from white and blue. She has like the one mountain, gain one, or one red, gain one, +1/+0, and then you can morph her, but I drop her in for free with Kalia. We have Rhea Dawnbringer, so she's pretty cool. At the beginning of the upkeep, target creature from the graveyard comes back to the battlefield, so pretty cool. These cards are really high cost, but they bring them free, and same with Runescar Demon, but bring it in with Kalia, and when it comes in, it searches for a card, so chooses for any card, so replace itself in hand pretty quickly. So yeah, I haven't actually opened this, got it a few weeks ago. I was going to try and do a video of a bunch of packages that I bought together, but yeah, just didn't really have the time to do that. So we're going to open that today. So this is an impulse buy from some auctions online. So yeah, it's basically some Dark Magician goals, because apparently I needed more Dark Magician goals. So there should be 3 in here if I remember right. I can't remember which artworks they were off the top of my head. So let's take a look. So first off, we got, what's this one? Battle City, first edition. So yeah, interestingly, Battle City has no serial number. Then we have Duelist Pack Yugi, not first edition. Yeah, I think I got for this because it was an RDS one. So these are not necessarily hard to find now, but they're not easy to find, so it's pretty cool. So these will all go in the binder. I think it's like 5 RDS ones I have now, so that's pretty cool. Alright guys, now we've taken a look at that, let's get into the deck profile. Now, of course guys, it is worth noting that this deck does require you to have the trial deck for the blue trial deck. You also need the first set and the second set for Cinderella Girls, but that works really nice. Yeah, so you guys can't build this deck in English because Cinderella Girls will probably never get its second set in English, which is a shame, but still, this deck is pretty cool. So let's get started. So first off, guys, at level 0, we have 3 copies of Ranko, not being true to herself. So this is a level 0 vanilla. Now there are better cards you can play than this if you really want to. You can play the trial deck Rin, the one that's like top check on attack and then on death scry. But I like this because it keeps the theme of Ranko. I know the deck can't be full Ranko if you still want it to work. So I've tried to keep as many Ranko or Chuni cards to keep the theme as pure as possible. And where possible, if I had to add other cards, I've tried to keep in my favorite characters like Miku and Rina as well. So obviously, if you guys didn't want to run this, you could run the Miku bombs from the red trial deck, but in the end, that's up to you. I wanted to keep the theme of Ranko. So it's a 3K vanilla, pretty straightforward. There are 4 different artworks from the trial deck. I just play these 3, because I might as well play one of each, just because I can. Next up, guys, we have 3 copies of one of the most important cards this deck actually needs, and this is the main reason why you actually do need the second set for this deck, which is Ranko to an even higher place. So the whole gimmick of Ranko, which I'm going to explain kind of when we get to level 1, is that you keep changing your level 1s out, and they become pretty big and your opponent can't deal with them. This card actually makes them even stronger and actually gives you some recovery. So basically, it gives 500 to all characters in front, and then whenever a character comes into play from the waiting room via a change effect, they gain an extra 500 power until the end of the turn, and they also gain hand on call till the end of the turn. So that's kind of confusing, but it works with the deck, and it's a really strong combo that you guys definitely, you definitely want this in the deck. So very nice. We have 2 copies of Miku, the best team, because best girl, Miku, best card. On play, discard the climax, salvage a music character. This is really, really handy in Ranko's deck because we do play Pants Trigger, same as in Asterisk, which of course you guys can go check out my Asterisk profile if you haven't already. She also has an effect if she attacks and her attack is cancelled, you send her to stock, so pretty straightforward there. Also best girl, so I couldn't not play Miku in this deck. I actually really love that card. I think it's one of the best cards that Cinderella Girls actually has. And then of course for our Brainstormer, we have 3 copies of Rina, because I like playing Rina because she is a tap 2 Brainstormer, and your main back row card, other than this of course, is going to be the Ranko to a higher place. So basically, you can always tap 2, that's fine. Ranko also the Rina also gives your front row center character 1000 power in your opponent's turn. So when you combo with these, the center row is going to get plus 1/5 base extra power, plus the extra power it gets from changing from this, and plus the power it gets from changing from its own effect. It's basically, if you set everything up right, your center character is going to be 9/5, a 1/0 9/5 with hand on core in your opponent's turn. And a level 1 that's 9/5 power is pretty big, especially because it has hand on core. So it's one of the things that makes the Ranko deck such a really strong gimmicky deck. But basically, that's all she really has until we get to grade 3. So, moving on now, we have 2 copies of Arisu from Project Crone. So, she's not a Chuni, she's not Ranko, she's not Miku, she's not Rina, but she's really good. Considering we're limited what we can play, we can't play the Akatsuki Rin in Japanese because it's on the restriction list, and we play the Kome card. So, basically, on play, we take the top card of our deck, music character, we add it to hand and ditch 1, and then, of course, we can discard a music character from my hand to draw another card, and we can choose whatever order we want to do those in. This card is insanely good, so that's why we play 2 copies of it. Also for filler, because we can't play the Akatsuki Rin, I play 2 copies of the Kaide. So she gains 1k, an extra 1k power, is it? No, 1/5 power if you have 2 or less stock, and then start of opponent's attack phase, she can run to your center slot. So decent first turn card if you can't get the vanilla out, so 2 copies of that's pretty nice. Now, of course, going on to the, not necessarily Chuni theme, but more of the goth theme, we have 2 copies of Kome. Now, this Kome is called Kome Loves Horror. Now, as you can see, not necessarily on the sign promo, but as you can see here on her regular booster set, she does have Ranko because they do have a song together. And she actually works pretty well in Ranko's deck because Ranko's deck is so heavily reliant, at least at level 3, on getting her book climax combo. Miku can salvage her own climax, which is why I don't really need to worry about running this in Asterisk. Yeah, but so basically on play, look up the top 4 cards of your deck, you can add a climax, and if you do, discard a card from your hand. So decent mill considering Ranko basically has none. But yeah, the Akatsuki Rin and this are both on the restriction list together for obvious reasons. You get so much, especially because this is basically a free mill 4, so you don't have to discard, so that's why it's pretty good. Finally, for level 0, we have 1 copy of Producer Encountering Rin because it's Producer. It's a meme. And there's always this weird thing in Ranko's episode in the first season with Producer. If you haven't seen the anime, I won't really spoil it. But basically, when he goes to Waiting Room, you may pay 1, discard a climax to salvage a different climax. So if you're stuck with a bunch of pants climaxes in your hand, you can send him to Waiting Room, and then you can get your, discard it, and then pay 1, discard it, and get your book. So it's another way to get a climax that you need. Moving on to level 1, so we start off with 4 copies of Ranko Pure White Angel, and then I have to say this together, guys, because these do work together. 4 copies of Fallen Angel Ranko, Fallen Angel of Darkness. Now, these cards work hand in hand with the Ranko to an even higher place and with their own effects. So this is going to get a little confusing, so I'm going to try and explain it. So we'll start with the white one. So at the start of your climax phase, this changes into this from the Waiting Room, and when this changes into this gains an extra 2/5 power. Pretty straightforward. Then at the start of your opponent's draw phase, this changes back into this, and this gives this an extra 2/5 power. And then of course, if you combo this, if you guys combo this with your back row card, it is worth noting, of course, that it is worth noting, of course, these things are going to get pretty big. The center one's going to get to 9/5. So someone just asked me a question. The playmat actually ordered from Ami Ami. Was it Ami Ami or my local store? I can't remember. And I'm not sure if the set's going to come to English. If they do, they'd have to nerf the hell out of it. because the Tribe Primus deck was insanely strong and they'd have to bring in all the restrictions. Honestly, they just have to like not print Tribe Primus, and so much of the second set is based around Tribe Primus. So hopefully that answers your question, dude. Thank you so much for your question. So moving on with the deck profile, we have one copy of a TD card called Ranko First Job. So basically when another one of your music characters attacks, she gains 1k. It's mostly just a filler card. We can't really do too much else with it. But I mean, there's better things you can play. You can play the Kaneko level 1 Suiciders if you're playing the Miku Suiciders, because you should have enough red in the deck. But I like keeping up with the Ranko theme and playing as many of the Ranko cards as possible. Obviously, we can't play them all because some of them are just absolutely horrible. Now, guys, we have 2 copies of Asuka's only card in Weiss Schwarz. So if you play the game or you're up with the lore of CG, you will know that Ranko is actually shipped with Asuka. So this is this girl here. So she is another Chuny, and they do have a combined really cool limited SSRs where Asuka's in a white suit and Ranko's in a wedding dress, obviously hinting at various things. Anyway, guys, this card is actually still really good. It is a promo. I think it was a shop promo, so I had to order it from Uite because you know, local store couldn't actually get it at the time. So basically what it does is during, when one of your characters is front attacked, you can sack this character from your field to pump that character 1/5 power until the end of the turn. So really, really good card. Fits the Chuny theme as well. It is a 1/0, so it doesn't cost you any stock, saves you all the stock. And it is 5k power base, so decent attacker as well. So it's actually, and it's a really nice looking card too. And again, it's the only card with Asuka on it. So finally at level 1, we have our 2 counters. So the 1/0 counter and the 1/1 counter, I'm not going to even try and pronounce their last names, but so this one is Sai and this one is Mizuki. So Sai is a 2k, 1/0 2k counter, pretty good, especially because it helps protect level 1s, especially if our opponent manages to find a way to beat over them even with minimal resources. We can always use these to protect them, because if we do lose them, we lose a lot of synergy and a lot of power. Another question. I actually don't, because I wanted to keep the deck as pure Ranko as possible, mostly because I like Anya and I like Banami, but I really want to make, like, I started trying to make a Ranko waifu deck because I was upset when I couldn't make a Miku waifu deck because she actually does require blue for her effect. So this is, if I did, because you can actually play the level 1 Manami combo, the double R one if you really want to, because it works really well with the deck, and that's what people usually play for the blue build for set 1. But I don't know, I like my build mostly because I mean I want to keep it like the Chuny theme, and I really want to play Asuka's card. So trying to sub in all these other cards, you start limiting the amount of, you start breaking away from the theme. So you can play the Memories combo if you want. I haven't tried it, like, well, not Memories, like the Love Leica combo, but you end up, like, at that point, I'd rather just make a Love Leica deck splashing Ranko rather than just a Ranko deck. So hopefully that answers your question, dude. So anyway, so this 1/1 counter is basically a 1/5 counter, and when you use it, you can check the top card of your deck, leave it at top, or put it in waiting room. So it can help you kind of script your deck a little bit to get the cancels. Now moving on to level 2, guys, we have first off Ranko. Becoming someone she wants to become. So this is another shop PR that you guys don't have if you play English. Definitely need it for the deck. You probably only run it at 1 because, like, I only run it at 1 because it's kind of strange. It's only really like, I'm super screwed, I really need to bring cards out. So basically it's on play, you pay 1, you send it to memory, and you get 1 Devil Ranko and 1 Angel Ranko from your waiting room and put them into separate slots of the stage. That's all it does. It gets you 2 attacks, so if you only have 1 card, but you have a bunch of stock, you can use this to get, you know, an extra attack in. So it can save you in the jam, but yeah, you're not really going to rely on it, so that's why I really only play 1. Moving back now to our TD stuff, we have 2 copies of the Ranko Level Assist, which is one of the only reasons why you guys buy the blue trial deck in the first place, other than the Rin. So it is a Level Assist, and when you play a Climax, you check the top card of your deck. You can leave it at top or put it on the bottom of your deck, and then you pump an extra 500. Hey, what's up, dude? Thanks for checking out the stream. Main reason, of course, that combo is really good is because it helps you find out with your level 3 Ranko where your climaxes actually are. So you can check if there's a climax on top, you know you don't have to mill it, and you're going to swing with your Ranko, or put it on bottom, you're going to swing with your Ranko, and you're automatically going to get your an extra 1 damage of the burn. So really, really good for Ranko. And now we play 2 cards. This is a card you guys can take out if you want. You don't have to run it. It's called Ranko during live. Now this card, it works pretty similar to the Rena 2-1, which is in my Asterisk profile, which if you had 2 red, 2 blue, -1 level in hand. This card basically, if you have 4 or more other blue characters, she gets -1 level in hand. So she basically becomes a 1-2 for 8k with 2 souls. So again, if you're really, really far ahead in the game, and you really feel like you can run this, you can. At the end of the day, for me, it's just an extra soul trigger for some damage or some extra level fodder, so I don't have to level like something like one of my level 1s, which you never want to level one of your level 1s. You're basically going to be relying on your level 1 game for most, the Angel and Devil Rankos for the entirety of the game until you hit level 3. Speaking of level 3, guys, first off, guys, let's start off with, of course, the birthday girl herself. We have 4 copies of Ranko Kanzaki. And yes, I have 1 SP because the SP is really, really nice. I can't remember the name of her voice actress off the top of my head, and it really infuriates me because I know she voices one of my favorite characters in Data Life. She voices Kaguya as well as Rika from Chunibyo as well, which is pretty cool. So basically, Ranko heals on play because, hey, thank God she does that. And then climax combo with with the book trigger, which is Rosenberg Legne, Sword of Hatred, Melody of Light. So when she attacks, you must mill the top 5 cards of your deck. You keep going even if you refresh, so you shuffle them, your entire way back and you keep milling. For every climax you mill, you deal your opponent 1 damage. So if you mill 3, you burn 3. If you mill 2, you burn 2. It's not 1-1 because that would be, I think, a little too broken considering you don't have to pay for this. As well as that, if you mill a climax, she gains an extra 2k power until the end of the turn. That's all she does. She's not super reliant. At least she has a finisher, so the deck kind of works. And considering the way the deck actually plays, if you're consistently brainstorming a lot and you're keeping your level 1s alive, you're actually going to have a pretty compressed deck, so chances are you're going to mill a lot of climaxes. The downside with this card, of course, is if you do have a compressed deck or a relatively compressed deck and you do mill a lot of climaxes after pulling triple Ranko, you're probably not going to cancel everything because you're going to have a lot of cards in your deck that aren't climaxes. So she's kind of a double-edged sword. I'd love to see if we do get a set 3 for Cinderella Girls. Or maybe a power-up set. See, the thing, it doesn't need a power-up set. It's such a strong set. Like, I don't even know what they do unless they did one based on, like, the Chibi series that's airing at the moment, which that's going to its 3rd season. I'd love to see some cards for, like, Asuka and stuff, you know, just that work with Ranko so I can make, like, a full Chuni deck. But yeah, this card is a double-edged sword. I mean, it's a good finisher, but I still think that Miku is a much better finisher. And if you guys are thinking of subbing Ranko into like a Love Like a deck, you definitely want to, I'd say definitely use Anya over this. But this is, I think, the main finisher that they do use for the blue deck from set 1 before TP. Because Anya is so stock intensive. So in the end, it's up to you guys if you play those. But yeah, I actually really like this card. At least it heals and it has decent mill potential, so. And finally, guys, our last 2 characters we play in the deck are 2 copies of My Rock Rena because she is a healer and she does have a climax combo with a pants trigger that can actually help you. So if you get into a pinch and you can't get triple Ranko, you can always do like double Ranko in one of this, and you can always like try and, you know, if you've milled the pants trigger with Ranko, you can always attack with this, check the top 2 cards. If one of them, if one of them's a climax, you always put that second, so you'll trigger the non-climax with Rena, and then when you attack with your 3rd Ranko, you'll mill the last climax. So, and she heals on play, so it's cool. And I get to play another Rena card. I remember when I was playing just set 1, I played this really bastardized deck that was like Asterisk Splash Ranko. It was like running the Miku finisher at level 3. Yeah, she doesn't really need a level 1 climax combo though. Like, her level 1 is actually broken. Like, she's 9, if you like play like the Rena and the assist, she's 9-5, like, it's like 9-5, one of them's like 9-5, one of them's 8-5, and the other one's 8k, and they all have hand on core. I mean, she doesn't need her level 1 combo. Her level 1 is perfectly fine. She needs a level 3 that's better, like, or something that, like, she has a level 3, but I think they should, like, give it to Asuka or something, because she would work really well in the deck, and I could take Rena out. Like, give Asuka a pants combo. It's really hard with Ranko because her level 1 is so set. You need to play, like, 8 of your level 1 cards are already taken up by that level 1, and the level 1 is so good. I don't know why they'd ever changed that. I mean, they tried to copy it for Yoshiko for like Sunshine, and it's been nowhere near as good. Yeah, so, and finally, guys, looking at our climaxes, we have 4 copies of Legne, the Sword of Hatred, Melody of Light, because it is Ranko's climax combo. And one thing that's really cool they did for Cinderella Girls is actually, there are, of course, if you're looking at the main climax combos for the double Rs for the first set, there are 4 different arts for every climax that's in from the first set. So there is the common, the SR, and the triple R. And so one thing I loved, I didn't actually regret buying boxes of Cinderella Girls, because it was the first set of Weiss that you actually got 2 guaranteed foils per box. You'd get either a guaranteed SR or triple R, and then if you got an SR, you could get a triple R and an SP, or you could get an SR, a triple R, which was really cool. I remember buying my first box and getting like the Anya SR, the level 0, and thinking my box was dead, and then someone told me that no, you get 2 foils, and I remember the last card in that, the very last pack in that box, actually having the Ranko SP, which is the SP I wanted at the time, because this is before I started playing the game and found Miku and all that stuff, so ecstatic about that. So yeah, obviously, and of course, the PR versions of these climaxes are just absolutely gorgeous. Like, I know there are people out there who probably just play just 4 PRs, but like, I like running all 4 because you can always do this weird gimmick with Cinderella Girls. I do it with Astros as well. Like, if you don't know what climaxes are left in your deck and you haven't actually brainstormed or anything, you can always like look at your waiting room and see which versions of your main climax combo you've actually triggered so far. So for in this case, like, it works really well with Astros because I play like 6 different I play 3 different climaxes, and I can play a different art for all of those climaxes. So I can have like 9 or something different climax arts. My math's probably wrong there, but yeah, so you can be like, oh, I haven't seen the common yet. I've seen the PR, the triple R, and the SR, and like, I haven't seen the common. I know the common's in my deck. It's not really cheating. I mean, is it really? Because Bushiroad lets us do this, but it's cool that we have 4 different artworks for this climax, and I always do think the SR of Legne looks so much better than the triple R, but obviously, like, the PR is just gorgeous, and I'll agree, of course, that the PR of Over is just gorgeous. So you guys can go check that out if you haven't seen my asterisk profile. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And finally, guys, we have we have 3 copies of Over Heartbeat version. Of course, you saw I was playing My Rock Rena, so I do play this. It does have Miku on it, so I get to play another Miku in the deck, so that makes me happy. And of course, combos with Rena, and it's Pants Trigger. So Pants Trigger really important because it helps us get our books in our hand. Because if you don't play Minami in this deck, you do need to play Rena, because or at least if you don't play Rena, you have to play this. You have to play a Pants Trigger. Now, of course, the Minami Pants Trigger Climax does have Ranko on it, so you can play that if you don't want to play Rena. But at the very least, you have to play at least 3 Pants in the deck. There is not a consistent enough way to get the book trigger in your hand, especially if you trigger it. It does. It can bury itself, kind of, because you do draw. And it's pretty hard to pay out in this deck because you don't use too much stock. So you got to play at least 3 Pants. And then I like playing 1 YOLO plus 2 Soul. Because in the re-release boxes for the first set, they did new PR. They actually gave us box PRs, and they were all climaxes of Going, I believe. And this one actually has Ranko on it, and so what the other blue one has Rena and Rin on it, I believe. I think there's one with Minami on it, I'm not sure. But I bought one re-release which had Minami SP in it, which I was like, what? Okay. So 2 boxes of CG, get Ranko and Minami SP. Okay, it seems good. But yeah, so this is a plus 2 soul. It does have Ranko on it, and this is the one I pulled, so I didn't have to order it, so it's really cool. Stubbing in the plus 2 soul, just to push damage. I mean, if your opponent hits level 2 before you and walls higher than your Ranko's on your turn, you can always just drop plus 2 soul. And this was always like a meme thing I used to do against, I used to play Skype Weiss a lot against Milky Homes. They drop the stupid, the Ellie, and then whenever they counter or whenever I attack, they'd counter, and their Ellie would be like freaking huge. So I'd just be like, okay, I'll just plus 2 soul and side attack your Ellie so that in your turn, you won't be, and there's no my turn, like, you may be bigger than me, but you can't beat over me, but in, you can't counter because I'm side attacking, and then in my turn, I'm going to be bigger than you could ever get. So it was a really cool meme. So the plus 2 soul is relevant in this deck at 1. The only downside is it is a double soul trigger, so it can hurt you a little bit when you're triggering, but you're going to try and mill it with Ranko. But anyway, guys, that is it for the Ranko deck profile. And one thing, and I'll do a little bit, show you a little bit how the combo works. So if you guys haven't played Ranko before, because I got a bit of time. So obviously we assume that we have, our field is something like this, yeah? So we're going into, this is the end of our main phase. So we hit level 1 and we drop all this. So basically what we can do is, there's a really cool gimmick I didn't actually tell you guys in the deck profile before, but because this changes in combat at the start of climax phase, you can actually brainstorm twice per turn in the Ranko deck, which is something that's really, really handy about the deck. And is actually helps you mill your deck quite a lot. So you always brainstorm first with these as well. So you do your normal brainstorm off Rena, and then if you have enough stock or you need to keep milling, you can actually rest, because Rena's actually rest any 2 characters, which is another reason why I do play Rena in this deck over some of the other brainstormers like Kaneko. I mean, running Kaneko is fine because she gives you the salvage, but obviously this combo here, giving the the 2k, the 2k to front row center on the opponent's turn is like, it's just ridiculous. Like and then of course we change in the attack phase, the climax phase, sorry, into these 3. They all get their own effect where they get plus 2/5 power. This gives them all an extra 500 hand on court, and then it's 500 in front. So they'll swing, and then in the opponent's turn, of course, in their draw phase, we change back to these. They all get 2/5 power from the effect of the Fallen Angel. They gain 500 from this. There's 500 in front here, and then this gives 1k here. So this gets to 8/5 with hand on core. This is 9/5 with hand on core, and this is 8k with hand on core. This is one of the reasons why I think Ranko doesn't actually need a level 1 climax combo, because this level 1 field is just so strong. Like, the only way they can actually deal with it is with cards like level 1 bombs, or even then level 1 bombs don't really do with it because you can just hand on core. Clock bombs and bottom deck bombs and wind triggers screw around with this deck a lot. Because, and if your opponent actually rushes you past level 1, or the ultimate weakness of the deck, of course, is not being able to change. So you've got to be careful when you do your double brainstorm, because if you overcommit and you do rest and you can't change, you do lose a turn and you lose a bunch of stock that you could make. But if you're playing the deck properly, most of the time that shouldn't happen. But of course, Weiss is RNG. But anyway, guys, that is it for the deck profile. Thank you so much for checking it out, and the rest of the live stream. No worries, dude. Thank you so much for watching. I love this deck. Was so much fun to put together, dude. Playing the Ranko deck is a lot of fun. Just being able to sit at level 1, just like, hi, I have and you go to your opponent's turn, they're like, power, and you're like, 9/5, 8/5, 8k, all with hand on court, and they're like, what? It hurts their brain. It's a pretty funny gimmick, and that's why I think you really need to play Rena, because having a 9/5, 1/0, 9/5 with hand on court is just insane. But anyway, guys, if you haven't already, you can check out some of my other Weiss profiles. There is an asterisk deck profile up here as well from CG, and there's some I have a Mudaka profile coming up very, very soon. Red, green, blue. There is, what else? There's Silica's up here. I'll be doing Leafa very, very soon. Of course, Nico, one of the earliest Weiss profiles I've done up here, which is pretty cool as well. And it's a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for checking out my live stream, and I'll catch you for my next video.